Young Americans were founded 52 years ago in Los Angeles by a man called, his name was Milton C. Anderson, and he was a music teacher in school who had the biggest problems with the fact that singing and dancing and performing, which are the basic forms of expression of human beings, were so separated. If you look back in time, you can easily imagine that a choir always would be standing, would not move, even they would be dressed in special clothing, in robes and so, and dancers would dance but they would never sing. And this is so unnatural, because when we express ourselves singing and dancing and acting body, everything is coming together. And Milton was the first man who brought singing and dancing and acting together in one big art form. And then in the year 1992, something very special in the history of the Young Americans happened. They decided to bring that enormous, beautiful energy which you find on which was like limited to stage, to performance, to take it and bring it into schools, like go to pupils which basically never had much contact to singing, dancing, performing, and never were taught in this holistic approach, and just bring this entire package in ordinary schools. So that was the beginning in 1992 of the music outreach tours, which for the first 8 years just was happening in the United States of America, and then from the year 2000 was brought to the entire planet. If you look at it now, we are having, I think, probably up to 10, 11 tours every year going on all over the planet. Of course, all over America, but then we are having like 3 entire tours in Europe. We are having a big tour procedure going on in Japan. We are having actually 2 tours simultaneously going on in Japan. And this year, for the very first time, we went to South Africa. More and more, the work of the Young Americans has extended itself to go to not only to schools but to places with special needs. For example, we are going into handicapped institutions. We are working with mentally disabled people, which is a very, very beautiful thing to happen. We are working in prisons. We are working with young prisoners. We are going to places where catastrophes have happened. Right now we are doing in Japan a program for the Japanese government where we work literally with every single school in the entire province of Sendai, where we had Fukushima, the earthquake and the breakdown of the nuclear power plants. So every school in the entire region will be visited by the Young Americans. That is an attempt to give back to those kids what they are lacking most. This trust in life, the joy, the strength, really to look forward and build a new life. Because what happened there is so disastrous. So it is a global thing which is very powerful. It is free of a political or religious agenda. It is all based on this natural, good, strong, believing, trusting energy of young people. So when you see how the Young Americans work, you will be overwhelmed by their aliveness, their joyfulness. They really know how to work, but they really know how to laugh at the same time. They will, when you are a participant, they will challenge you like you never have been challenged before, and at the same time you will feel so comfortable like you have never felt before, because they come with love and embrace, and at the same time with focus and strength, and they show you that within 3 days you can realize something which you never thought you would be able to. So that was a long statement. I'm sorry for that, but it is such a beautiful concept to explain who I am. I'm the European manager of the Young Americans. In the last 13 years, I have worked with in almost 500 towns all over Europe, from Siberia to Gibraltar. And I have seen the Young Americans in all kinds of schools, in all kinds of environments. I have seen them work in prisons. I have seen them work with handicapped people. I have seen them work in inner cities schools where the normal teachers already had given up because they thought they could not handle that amount of violence and lack of discipline anymore. The Young Americans go there with their totally different approach. They create a working atmosphere where even in the most difficult situations people just they have no choice but joining in there. You know? Right now, being here in Tukumā for the second time, we do the very first real big teachers workshop here in Europe. So the participants are not kids, not children, they are not young people, but they are teachers from the age of probably 25 up to 65. And I am so honored that Latvia is giving us so much trust to share a little bit of our form of teaching with them. And we are, of course, not here to substitute, to take away anything of your teaching, but we want to add something of the quality we have developed in the last 50 years, and maybe we can add a little bit of this holistic approach. We do not only come through the mind, but we come through mind and soul and body and everything at the same time. And so we can make teaching more joyful, more, there is a different intensity of motivation. You know, in the end, after 3 days, all the participants of the workshop will perform an entire stage show on a stage. They will have to expose themselves. They will be standing in the lights. I forgot to explain what we are doing at all. Like in 3 days, we unfold a creative workshop. And in those 3 days, every participant is learning an entire show with elements of singing, dancing. We make street dance, we make jazz dance, we make rock numbers, rock and roll numbers. We have a very, very beautiful dance choreography from The Lion King, which is working with very powerful mental images. We want to make people proud and strong and show them something about themselves they never knew before. So we are having that. We make them sing. Well, in Latvia and Estonia, people are singing in a certain way. We are showing them a different way to sing, not in regard, we never have in our focus the artistic result, but we are focusing on the joy quality. We encourage them like to leave every inhibition behind, like to go forward and to explode in joy on that stage. So you will see people sing in total ecstasy. They are really celebrating in the moment when they are performing. And maybe a last thing, what we are doing is so much more than a 3-day workshop which has the quality of a happening, and then we go and everything is as it used to be. I am deeply convinced, and I know, I simply have seen it so often, that every participant in one of our workshops like makes a tiny little change in his being. He will be a little bit more trusting, he will be a little bit more self-confident. He will be a little bit more to really address the other, to communicate with others. So I'd say these young people, it's powerful, it's 45 of them. They spread so much energy, so much good energy, that they really succeed in opening somewhere deep down doors and allows a new perspective in life. And that is the value. We are not interested in an artistic result. We are not a performance company. Our goal is not to make the sensational thing. Our goal is to make people strong, to make people confident, to make people proud, to get people out of their isolation, to reach out. The name of our program is Outreach Tour. We want the participants to understand the other as a beautiful human being, and that it is a very beautiful thing to embrace the other and coming together and go together for a common goal. So it's about the individual, and it is about the real readiness to come together and go together for a goal. Break isolation, make yourself confident, strong, discover your creative possibilities, what you have inside, discover your heart. Many people for the first time, for a long, long time, just sit down and cry. You can see that this, in a good cry, like that a deep layer of emotions is, so we are here to really help people to come to a different kind of self-exploration, self-definition, a different kind of being. And that is a very, very beautiful and honoring thing to do.